Hello friends, my name is Hardik Harsora and I am a business consultant. I help small and medium sized businesses and mostly family run businesses adopt things that will help them become the corporate or the big organization that they wish to become instead of grappling through things themselves and learning in a long run, as in spend a lot of time. Now, why am I saying this to you? Well, it's important because whenever I make videos, my videos are basis the kind of conversations that I've had with either my customers or my prospects. And I had one such conversation in the last week. This conversation was with one of my prospects who is into the business of manufacturing furnitures, and we were contemplating whether the sales team that he must have should be that of people who understand the furniture design and production, or should it be of people who have the background of sales, and therefore what are the skills that are required. And during this conversation we kind of spoke about things that a sales guys need to do, therefore the skills that they need to have, and therefore what's the right answer to who should I recruit. Should I recruit somebody who is technically more savvy, or should I recruit somebody who has a background in sales? So here are the 3 points in this video which will tell you these are things that sales guys do not do, and if you identify any of your salespeople or even you not doing any of these 3 things, then you got to correct them to get successful in the art of selling. So this video is for all the entrepreneurs who are into sales. This video is also for all sales professionals and for aspirant sales professionals in small and medium sized companies and family run businesses. So without any further ado, let's jump into point number 1, and that's called no preparation. Most salespeople do not prepare before they go into the sales call, and that's the very bad thing to do. Most people kind of have a sales pitch which either they have developed themselves or they have learned from the training given to them, and then they stick to that sales pitch no matter who they are meeting. Now that's not the most efficient way of doing things. Look, when you go to sell, you're going to meet one of the 3 kind of people. Okay, the first one is the person who is going to approve the finance or who's going to pay the money for your product and services. The second person that you may end up meeting is somebody who's going to approve and say, okay, this is the product that we can go for and that's the product that we can't go for. And the third is the actual user of the product or services that you are selling. Now chances are there all of these 3 entities or 3 roles can be done by one person, can be done by 2 people, or you may have 3 people with all of these 3 different roles. And it's extremely important for you to know who you are meeting. Why? Because the conversation is going to be different with each role type. Well, anybody who is a user of your product and service is more inclined and is more wanting to learn from you the features that makes his life easy. So if I'm speaking to somebody who is going to use my product and services, I'm going to talk about the detailed features of my product and services. If I'm speaking to somebody who's going to approve it, the person who's in the approving mindset is looking at de-risking himself. So he's comparing 2 products. He's comparing, why should I go with you and not with somebody else? So in that case, my sales pitch will dwell more upon testimonials, reviews. My sales pitch will talk about how can I de-risk, if you're buying my product, which is 21-day return policy, etc., right? And the third person who is the third role that we have is the person who's going to put money on the table. Chances are if you're working with a corporate trying to sell them something, then they are going to be CFOs. They are going to be, or financial controllers, they are going to be interested in knowing the financial terms and conditions. They don't want to know what are the features of your product and service. That's not the kind of things that they are looking to hear. They want to know what's the payment term like. Is there a buyback? What is the best price for the kind of product that you have? Do I get the discounts on this? Do I get discounts if I buy in bulk? All of those things is what the financer or somebody who's playing that role will want to hear. If you don't prepare for all of these 3 roles, chances are you will end up saying things to somebody who does not want to listen to those things because that's not his role. You can't be talking about finance and discounts to somebody who's going to use the application and is not going to pay, and he's not somebody who's even interested in how much does this cost. The second thing that you got to prepare on is based on who you are meeting. You got to then understand your product knowledge. You got to revise the knowledge of your product. Without this preparation of how your product or service fits well for all of these 3 roles, and therefore getting into the sales call is of paramount importance. Should you not do this, you will not be able to crack sales every time you meet a prospect. Point number 2 is called communication. In a lot of my past videos, I have mentioned people want to buy but they don't want to be sold, which which means people make a lot of their buying decisions emotionally, and that emotions you got to trigger as a salesperson by communicating in the right fashion. And one aspect in communication that plays a pivotal role in the way you go about doing your sales is called probing, is called questioning. When you question, you make the person think, because he has to think to be able to answer. When he thinks and answers, that is the part of the pitch. So it's like you want to question the financer. Okay, would it be nice if your payment plans are X, Y, and Z? And that makes the financer thinks, yeah, I think X, Y, and B will be better than X, Y, and Z. And when he says that, you know that's the payment plan that will suit him best. You just offer him that and close the deal, right? So it's important for you to understand what kind of questions you got to ask to the kind of person that you're meeting, right? The second skill that is extremely important is listening. When you ask somebody a question, the answer that you get, you're supposed to register and use it and weave it into your sales pitch conversation so that you can close the deal faster. So listening is the second most important thing when it comes to communication. The third important thing in the communication is how you go about saying things. And when it comes to saying things, it's not only the language, it's also body language, which is how you position yourself, how are you sitting, what are you wearing, how do you conduct yourself. All of that comes in play. Well, there are several ways in which you can make a person say what you want him to say and influence him. Things like shooting for the stars and landing on the moon. What I mean by that is, when you pitch a product or when you want to sell something to the client, you start by the product which has the maximum cost to the customer, right? And let's say you want to sell a 50,000 rupees product, you talk about a 80,000 rupees product first, and you go heavy and place it absolutely right to the need of the prospect, right? Because you're going to do probing. Now, when you place it right and you say 80, then a 50,000 rupees product is going to sound cheaper. And that is one way in which you will make a 50,000 rupees product go through without the prospect asking for discounts. Now, there are various ways in which this can be done. If you're interested, mention it in the comment box and I will make a separate video for that. So all of these aspects of communication, of talking, of the ability to convey the idea to the prospect so that he can make the buying decision or to hit his emotional self is what is required. And I see a lot of sales guys missing the boat on this. They miss the boat on probing. They miss the boat on making sure that that body language is right. There's nothing that is done right when it comes to the sales pitch. Sales happen because the person needed it and the sales guy happened to reach that time at that place. Now that I call in the Hindi world Virasati sales, which is a sales that was anyways going to pour into your lap. It's just that the sales guy happened to reach there. That's not the kind of sales that you want. So improve on the communication. Point number 3, closing. A lot of people get it absolutely incorrect. Inability to close. The people do very well on pitching the product communication. People do very well on probing, but they don't end up closing because they can't believe that they are able to close so fast. They have always lived in that complicated sales closure, or they may not have got the kind of sales closures that they can get now, and therefore they are not able to believe that the customer is already ready to buy, and they end up creating hurdles. Second very important thing is salespeople do not ask. After you're done with the sales pitch, you allow some bit of silence and then you assume sales and you say, okay, so I'm filling up the order form. Ask for the closure. If you don't ask, it's not going to happen. The third thing that is extremely important is, like when I say removing hurdles, it's important to create urgency also. So if the sales guy, if the prospect says, you know what, I want to know whether this is possible or no, and you as a sales guy are not the technical person, get on a call, get the technical person to speak to the prospect right away. Do not get in, oh, you know what, maybe for the next 2 days we won't be able to speak. Don't do that. Create the sense of urgency. Do that right away. Today is better than tomorrow. The next hour, no. This hour right now is better than the next hour. That's how you go about closing. And the next one, which is the most important thing, and in some cases it's proven that 50% of the sales closures happen because of follow-ups, even more in fact. So you cannot not follow up. But again, follow-up has this balancing act to be done. You do not follow up too much, you do not follow up too less. So you got to ask the customer how to follow up. And one of the beautiful ways in which you can design the follow-up is by asking for a favor, which means you tell the prospect, Mr. Prospect, can you do me a favor? Can you tell me what is the right time for me to call you back and check if you've made your decision? And when you ask this, the prospect will tell you, call me on Monday 6 o'clock. If the person says, call me sometime next week, you can say, can I ask you a favor? Can you tell me if Monday 6 o'clock is good enough? And if the prospect says yes, now you've got an approval. When you ask for favor, there are very, very high chances that the prospect is going to get into the mindset of helping you and is therefore not going to stop you from follow up. And if you do this favor thing with follow-ups in the right fashion, 4 or 5 follow-ups, and you should know whether this deal is going to get closed or no. Anything more than 4 or 5 follow-ups is too much follow-up. After that, you should stop speaking about that closure and start speaking about everything that can help you keep in touch with your prospect. So with these 3 things, I hope you will be able to ace on your sales ability, your closing ability. And if you have questions pertaining to these things that I discussed on this video, then leave it in the comment box and I'll be very, very happy to discuss it further, make more videos maybe, or at least answer to the comments that you have made. If this video helped you, put a big fat thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? Subscribe to this channel. You don't need to be my prospect. You just need to tell me what is the issue that you want to solve in your business, and I'll be more than happy to make videos on that. So subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon, and until we meet again, all you fine people, keep making lots of sales and keep propelling.